My child, stay here and listen. This message did not reach you by coincidence. Archangel Michael says there is someone near your life who is no longer permitted to text you, speak to you, or come close to your spirit. This restriction was not made by chance. It was established by heaven itself. There is a reason for it, and the truth behind that reason is deeper than you realize. Remain attentive, because every part of this matters. Michael warns you not to look away too quickly. Before long, something within you may confirm what is being revealed. A sudden feeling, a deep stirring, or a clear inner knowing may rise as this message continues to unfold. He says, "My beloved child, if you dismiss this warning, you risk ignoring not only truth, but also the protection that has been placed around your soul. So listen carefully, because this message comes with both mercy and urgency."
There is a person who smiles before you, yet their private words have not matched their public face. Behind closed doors, they have spoken in ways that carried harm instead of blessing. That is why heaven interrupted their access. The distance now in place is not random. God is saying that your spirit cannot keep drinking from what has already been poisoned. What seemed like loyalty may have hidden betrayal, and what looked like kindness may have carried another motive. If you felt a sudden chill or a wave pass through you, do not dismiss it too quickly. Let it remind you that something deeper is being uncovered. This message is asking you to notice what your spirit may already have sensed. Stay with this moment, because a name may begin to rise in your thoughts. Do not force it, and do not argue with what comes. If one name keeps returning, pause and pay attention. Clarity often arrives first as a quiet recognition. Michael says the enemy often works through silence, hidden intentions, and unseen conversations. But heaven does not leave you unguarded. Warning can come before the storm, and protection can arrive before damage reaches your door. So remain alert, my beloved child. Archangel Michael stands before you in this message with the sword of light, not to terrify you, but to shield you from what should no longer have access to your peace, your heart, or your destiny. And he says, the reason you feel this constant pull in your heart, the reason you sense a storm every time this person enters your mind, is because heaven itself has restricted them. This is not ordinary silence. It is not the silence of distance, nor the silence of choice. This is the silence of divine order, for their voice carries chains, and if you were to allow them into your ears, their words would wrap around your soul like ropes meant to suffocate your light. God himself has said, no more access, no more entry, no more hidden whispers from a snake clothed in love. And yet I know what you are feeling now. You wonder why the one who once brought you comfort has now been sealed away. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I deserve this wall of silence? Hear me clearly, beloved. You did nothing wrong. Heaven is not punishing you. Heaven is protecting you. There is a difference. Punishment comes from sin, but protection comes from love. And right now, Archangel Michael reveals that you are under a blanket of love, so heavy, so unshakable that even the enemy's words have been cut off before they could reach you. This person is restless. They have tried to reach out. Their hand has hovered over the phone. Their fingers typed and erased the message 100 times. But still, their text never reaches you. Still, their call never comes through. Why? Because the angelic hand stops them. God has already decided no message will pass that door. For every word they wish to release is dipped in manipulation, in confusion, in distraction from the destiny that is being written over you. Heaven will never allow you to be dragged into a pit by a voice you once trusted. Archangel Michael leans forward, and his words thunder like waves in your chest. My child, You are chosen. And because you are chosen, not everyone is permitted to speak into your life. There are people who may love you but cannot walk with you. There are people who may smile at you but cannot share in your harvest. The Father has drawn a boundary, and this person has crossed it too many times with lies. Their season has ended. Their voice has been silenced. And the reason you found this message is because your spirit already knew it. Deep down, you have felt the distance. Deep down, you have seen their shadow when they pretended to stand in the light. Do not grieve, beloved. Do not chase what heaven has removed. Instead, lift your eyes. For Archangel Michael says, in 2 minutes, something unexpected will happen. A sign will confirm this truth. It may be a sudden sound, a flicker of light, a word on your screen that jolts your heart. Do not ignore it. That sign is heaven's stamp upon this message. And when you see it, remember you are not abandoned. You are guarded. You are not rejected. You are selected. The silence you hear from them is not emptiness. It is fullness of divine protection. And listen carefully, because what I'm about to say will pierce deeper than the rest. The name of the one who cannot text you, the face of the one who is not allowed to sit at your table, will surface in your mind before the end of this message. Do not resist it. Do not argue with it. Heaven speaks in whispers that feel like memory, but those whispers are warnings wrapped in love. Write it down quietly if it comes. Do not share it with anyone. Michael says, this is between you and God. Do not reveal what is holy to those who would trample it. My beloved child, the heavens are not silent about what you are going through. The angels see the struggle in your chest, the endless questions that swirl inside your mind, and the ache that presses against your soul every time you wonder why this person cannot come closer, why their voice has been sealed away from you. Archangel Michael speaks firmly because their words were never meant to heal you. Their words were meant to trap you. And God does not allow his chosen children to be ensnared when the time of their destiny is at hand. What you feel now, the distance, the silence, the unanswered messages, is not emptiness. It is proof that you are being carried on higher ground. You were not meant to sit at the table of deception. You were meant to stand at the altar of truth. There is something sacred about this moment. Do you not feel it? Even as you read these lines, something inside you shifts. You can sense that this is not ordinary writing. This is not random coincidence. This is the voice of the Spirit echoing through words, reaching you in the exact second you were meant to hear them. Michael says, the one who tried to draw close to you was carrying chains hidden in roses. They appeared gentle. They appeared kind. But every word from their mouth was dipped in a shadow you could not see. That is why the Father has stopped them. That is why they cannot text you, cannot call you, cannot break through the wall heaven has set around you. There is something sacred about this moment. Do you not feel it? Even as you read these lines, something inside you shifts. You can sense that this is not ordinary writing. This is not random coincidence. This is the voice of the Spirit echoing through words, reaching you in the exact second you were meant to hear them. Michael says, the one who tried to draw close to you was carrying chains hidden in roses. They appeared gentle. They appeared kind. But every word from their mouth was dipped in a shadow you could not see. That is why the Father has stopped them. That is why they cannot text you, cannot call you, cannot break through the wall heaven has set around you. Beloved, you need to understand this with your whole heart. Not everyone who desires access to you deserves it. There are some who smile only to hide their envy. There are some who touch your hand only to test your strength. There are some who speak your name in love, but whisper your downfall in private. Archangel Michael has seen the double faces, the two tongues, the hidden scrolls of darkness written behind closed doors. He has seen how their words would have weakened your faith, how their influence would have delayed your miracle. And so he raised his sword and struck down their ability to reach you. Their messages evaporate before they arrive. Their voice dries up before it touches your ears. This is why you must never chase silence. Silence can be your shield. I know what you are thinking, but why would God remove them now when I needed someone beside me? Hear me, my beloved child. God removes what is false so that what is true can finally appear. You have been asking for clarity, crying out for guidance, begging heaven to show you who is real and who is not. Do you think your prayers went unheard? No. They traveled faster than light into the courts of heaven. And this silence is the answer. This divine restriction is the proof that God Himself has drawn a line around you and said, no more counterfeits, no more leeches. Only what is meant for you may enter. From this day forward, do not see this as loss. See it as preparation. For when God removes a voice from your life, it is because He is preparing your ears for a greater voice, one that will carry words of life and not death, truth and not manipulation, blessing and not betrayal. Michael says, in 2 minutes from now, as you hold on to these words, something unusual will happen around you. A sound, a flash, a sudden shift will testify that you are not alone, that heaven is speaking directly to you. Watch carefully, for the sign will be small, yet undeniable. And once you see it, you will know this message is sealed by God's own hand. And now listen with trembling attention. The name of the one who is not allowed to reach you has already brushed the edges of your mind. You know who it is, because every time they tried to come close, your spirit grew restless. Every time they spoke, you felt a heaviness rather than peace. That was not your imagination. That was the Spirit warning you, pressing against your heart like a whisper that refused to be ignored. This is why heaven has cut them off. Do not fight it. Do not try to force open a door God Himself has closed. For if you walk back through that door, you will be walking into a pit, and God loves you too much to let you fall. My child, Archangel Michael leans close, to you even now, and his words carry the weight of eternity. Do not grieve the silence of those I have cut off, for their silence is your salvation. What they cannot say to you is what would have destroyed you. Heaven sees deeper than the eyes of men, and it listens beyond what human ears can hear. That is why you feel this strange mixture of peace and ache at the same time. You wonder why part of you longs for their voice, while another part of you feels lighter without them. That is not confusion. That is discernment awakening inside you. Your soul knows what your flesh sometimes refuses to accept. Not every presence in your life was meant to last. Some arrive as lessons. Some arrive as tests. Some arrive as temptations wrapped in gold. And God has given Michael the order. Remove what is not destined so that what is destined can finally enter. Beloved, imagine this. A banquet has been prepared for you in heaven's courts. The table glows with divine light, and every blessing, every answered prayer, every breakthrough you have longed for sits like fruit ready to be picked. But what happens when someone with unclean hands tries to sit at your table? Their very presence contaminates the feast. Their jealousy poisons the cup. Their deceit infects the bread. Would a loving father ever let his child eat from a table spoiled by a serpent's touch? No. That is why Michael has drawn his sword across the threshold of your life and said, "This far and no further. You will not speak. You will not deceive. You will not drain my chosen one again. And though your heart aches because you once trusted them, remember this. Every separation ordained by heaven is preparation for elevation. This is not rejection. This is redirection. God is not leaving you empty. He is making room for what is greater. The reason their phone is silent, the reason their hand does not type the message, the reason their words dissolve before reaching your ears is because the Father is positioning you to hear a new voice, His voice clear and undiluted, not mixed with lies or manipulation. Do you not sense it even now? The silence has grown louder than their presence, because silence is where God Himself speaks. Michael says, "My child, the name has already floated through your spirit. You try to dismiss it, but heaven has confirmed it. The unease you felt was not imagination. It was revelation. Do not chase what I have removed. You may feel tempted to reopen the door, to wait for their message, to wonder if perhaps they have changed. But beloved, can a wolf stop being a wolf just because it hides in the clothes of sheep? Can poison stop being poison just because it is poured into a golden cup? No, the nature remains the same, and heaven refuses to let you drink from that cup again. Something else must be told to you, and though it may sting, it will heal you. This person has spoken against you in secret. Yes, they wore a mask in your presence, but their tongue was unleashed in hidden places. The words were sharp, they were jealous, and they were never meant to reach your ears. But heaven heard. God wrote every word down in His book, and Michael saw the betrayal disguised as loyalty. That is why they cannot text you now. That is why their voice is silenced. Because if you had heard them directly, it would have shattered you. But God loves you too much to let their venom pierce your heart. So He sealed their mouth. Michael says, "My child, the name has already floated through your spirit. You try to dismiss it, but heaven has confirmed it. The unease you felt was not imagination. It was revelation. Do not chase what I have removed. You may feel tempted to reopen the door, to wait for their message, to wonder if perhaps they have changed. But beloved, can a wolf stop being a wolf just because it hides in the clothes of sheep? Can poison stop being poisoned just because it is poured into a golden cup? No. The nature remains the same, and heaven refuses to let you drink from that cup again. Something else must be told to you. And though it may sting, it will heal you. This person has spoken against you in secret. Yes, they wore a mask in your presence, but their tongue was unleashed in hidden places. The words were sharp, they were jealous, and they were never meant to reach your ears. But heaven heard. God wrote every word down in His book, and Michael saw the betrayal disguised as loyalty. That is why they cannot text you now. That is why their voice is silenced. Because if you had heard them directly, it would have shattered you. But God loves you too much to let their venom pierce your heart. So He sealed their mouth. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is for your spirit's growth. In the next few moments, as you breathe in these words, something unusual will occur around you. It might be a flicker of light, the sudden call of a bird outside your window, a sound in the silence of your room, or even a rush of heat across your skin. Do not dismiss it. That is the sign Archangel Michael promised. That is the seal that this word is not man's invention, but heaven's declaration. Hold on to it. Write it down quietly if you must, because this sign is your confirmation that you are not imagining this. You are not alone. Heaven is speaking, and you are chosen. My child, hear this with the fullness of your spirit. When God removes someone from your path, He does not leave a void. He creates a space for what is truly yours. The silence you hear right now is not punishment. It is protection. You think you have lost a person, but in truth, you have been saved from a trap. Do you realize that the very message they could not send was one that would have bent your path away from the destiny written in heaven? Michael says, do not chase the silence. Do not grieve the unanswered call. For if you knew what I have heard, you would fall on your knees in gratitude that their voice never reached you. Beloved, I must tell you something deeper, something heaven has been pressing to reveal. The person who cannot text you, who cannot step across the threshold of your life, is one who carries a hidden agenda. They may not even fully understand it themselves, but their spirit has been influenced by forces that do not belong to the light. There are words they have spoken in rooms where your name was discussed, and those words were sharpened not with love, but with envy. Their desire was not to bless you, but to bind you, and God in His mercy cut the cord before it wrapped around your neck. Do you not feel lighter in their absence? Yes, your heart wrestles with the ache of separation, but underneath that ache, there is a clarity that was not there before. You can breathe differently now. You can think differently now. Heaven has removed the fog that came with their presence. This is why your nights have felt restless. Your soul sensed the battle long before your mind could understand it. And now the answer is clear. They are forbidden. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are too worthy to be touched by hands that were never pure. Michael says, my child, the world will not understand this kind of protection. They will tell you to chase them, to forgive them, to reopen what I have sealed. But I am not interested in the approval of man. I am charged with the assignment of guarding your soul, and I will not allow poison to flow into a chosen vessel. These words are final, beloved. What heaven has closed, let no man reopen. What God has silenced, let no hand attempt to unseal. This is your safeguard, and it will remain. You must now prepare yourself for what comes next. For when God removes, He also replaces. The silence of one voice makes room for another, one that carries healing, one that carries truth, one that speaks life into your spirit instead of draining it. Can you feel the anticipation rising even now? The moment you accepted this silence, heaven began preparing a new connection for you. This is why you have been restless. This is why your days feel heavy, but also filled with a strange expectancy, because your spirit knows something greater is drawing near. Stay alert. In the coming days, you will encounter a message, a word, or even a person who will carry the confirmation you need. It will not come with manipulation. It will not come with hidden motives. It will come with purity, with light, with a peace that cannot be faked. That is how you will know it is from God. Archangel Michael says, test every voice, but cling to the one that carries peace. For peace is the language of heaven. And listen, this part is vital. The enemy will try once more to sneak in. You may see their name flash across your mind. You may even be tempted to believe they have changed. But Michael warns, do not go back. The silence is still in place for a reason. They are not permitted to break through no matter how many times they try. Stand firm, beloved, and know this truth. Silence is not your enemy. Silence is your shield, my beloved child. The heavens are wide open over you at this very moment. The angels stand like sentinels around you, their wings outstretched, their eyes blazing with light. And in the center stands Michael, his sword raised, his voice echoing through eternity. The one who was once allowed to stand near you has been weighed, measured, and found wanting. Their time of speaking into your life is over. Their access has been revoked. This is not cruelty. This is mercy. You are being moved from one chapter to another. And not everyone who was written into your past can be written into your future. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows who can carry the weight of your destiny and who cannot. That is why the silence has fallen so heavy. It is heaven's hand editing your story. And yet I know the questions rise like tides in your mind. Why now? Why this way? Why the sudden cutoff? Because, beloved, the Father will not allow you to step into your promise with voices attached to you that were sent to sabotage it. Imagine a climber scaling a mountain with ropes tied to stones. No matter how strong he climbs, the weight drags him back. That is what this person represented. A weight disguised as a support. They smiled to keep you still. They spoke softly to keep you distracted. And God saw it all. He does not expose their heart to shame them. He exposes it to save you. My beloved child, the heavens are wide open over you at this very moment. The angels stand like sentinels around you, their wings outstretched, their eyes blazing with light. At the center stands Michael with his sword raised, his voice carrying with authority. The person who once had permission to remain close has been weighed carefully, and their season of influencing your life has now reached its end. Their access has been removed not as an act of cruelty, but as an act of mercy. You are being carried from one chapter into another, and not everyone who belonged to your past is meant to travel with you into what comes next. God knows who is able to honor the weight of your calling and who would only weaken it. That is why the silence feels so intense. It is as though heaven is editing your story, removing what can no longer belong in the future being prepared for you. Still, questions rise within you. Why now? Why this way? Why did everything become quiet so suddenly? Because the Father will not lead you into promise while voices remain attached to you that continually pull you away from peace and purpose. Imagine climbing a mountain while heavy stones remain tied to your body. No matter how determined you are, the weight keeps dragging you backward. That is what this connection became. Something that looked supportive while quietly slowing your progress. They may have smiled in ways that kept you comfortable and spoken softly enough to keep you distracted. But God saw what you could not fully recognize. Exposure is not meant to humiliate them. It is meant to protect you from what was hidden. Listen carefully now. Even as these words reach you, memories may begin to surface. Small moments you once dismissed, subtle signs you ignored, and that unexplained discomfort you sometimes felt around them may suddenly make more sense. Those moments were not meaningless. They may have been quiet warnings asking you to pay closer attention. You prayed for discernment, and now clarity is beginning to connect pieces you could not understand before. Michael says this is the moment to release what has already been cut away. Trust that some endings happened because they needed to happen. Do not reopen the same door simply because silence makes you curious about what remains behind it. Do not send the message simply to ease the discomfort of separation. Do not break a boundary that was created to protect your peace. Let the seal remain where it is, while your heart learns how to move forward without returning. And if you feel both sorrow and relief at the same time, do not be surprised. Grief can exist beside freedom. You can miss what once mattered and still recognize that letting go is the healthier path for the life ahead. That is healing beginning. That is your soul recognizing truth. Because deep down, you always knew something was off, but you couldn't explain it. Now heaven explains it for you. The reason they cannot text you, cannot call you, cannot break through the silence is because God has declared you untouchable by their words. This is your Exodus moment, your crossing of the Red Sea, your separation from the ones who cannot follow you into the promised land. Beloved, I must tell you also of the joy that is coming. This silence is not forever. It is for a season. And when the season ends, you will stand on higher ground. You will look back and thank God for the nights you cried alone, for the unanswered calls, for the messages that never came, because each one was a shield. Each one was a brick in the wall heaven built around you. Michael says, soon you will see why. Soon you will rejoice. Soon you will meet those who are truly sent by God, and their voice will feel like home. But until then, hold this word close. Do not share it lightly. This is between you and heaven. Write the name. If it comes, pray over it. Release it. Trust that you are not being abandoned. You are being guarded. This is the promise. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment shall be silenced. Heaven has already begun. The silence you feel is the proof. My child, the Spirit says, do not mistake absence for rejection. This is not rejection. This is protection. The very silence you feel right now is a wall of fire surrounding you. Archangel Michael says, you asked for clarity. You asked for truth. You asked for divine confirmation. And heaven answered by sealing the lips that would have deceived you. If their words were meant for your healing, they would have reached you. If their presence was meant for your growth, they would have remained. But the reason they cannot text, cannot call, cannot enter is because they were not sent to heal. They were sent to hinder. Beloved, remember this truth. God sees what you cannot see. He listens to conversations that you will never hear. While you trusted their smile, He saw their whispers. While you held their hand, He heard the curses they spoke in hidden corners. And though those words never reached your ears, they reached His throne. Heaven judged it, and heaven silenced it. That is why the line has been cut, why the message never arrives. It is not technology failing. It is not coincidence. It is the invisible hand of God protecting you from words that were designed to pierce your soul. Do not doubt what you are feeling right now. That ache in your heart, that heaviness you carry is proof of the spiritual weight of this revelation. You are not imagining this. You are not reading coincidence. You are being addressed by heaven in this exact moment because the timing is perfect. If you had seen this earlier, you may not have believed it. If you had seen it later, the damage might have been done. But right now, in this moment, the seal of heaven rests upon this word. Do not go back. Do not wait for their voice. Do not chase what I have removed. I know you wrestle with hope. You wonder, but what if they have changed? What if they are truly sorry? Listen to me, my child. Forgiveness is holy, but re-entry is not always permitted. God may heal your heart toward them, but that does not mean they are allowed to walk with you again. Some people are forgiven from a distance. Some are loved from afar. Michael says, your destiny is too precious to gamble on their return. Your calling is too sacred to let them trespass again. This silence is not meant to punish them. It is meant to preserve you. Beloved, your soul is being positioned for something greater. You cannot see the fullness yet, but heaven is arranging it. The silence of one voice is creating space for a chorus of blessings. Soon doors will open that no man can shut. Soon words will reach you that heal instead of hurt, that bless instead of burden. This is the divine exchange. Do not mourn what has been silenced, for it is making way for what will sing over you. And do not forget this promise. In the next moments, perhaps even as you finish reading this, there will be a sign. It may feel small, but it will be undeniable. A sound, a flicker, a sudden word or number appearing before your eyes. That sign will confirm everything spoken here. Do not ignore it. It is the whisper of God saying, yes, this word is for you. Yes, this silence is protection. Yes, I have chosen you, my beloved. Archangel Michael is not whispering to you. He is declaring. His voice cuts through the silence, like thunder breaking over mountains. You are chosen, and chosen ones are never left unguarded. Do not fear the silence. The silence is your shield. When you look around and wonder why the ones you trusted have grown quiet, When you wonder why messages never arrive and calls never come, you must remember this is not accident. It is design. God has placed his hand over your ears and said, "No more poison, no more lies. My child's spirit is too precious to be contaminated again." And do not forget this promise. In the next moments, perhaps even as you finish reading this, there will be a sign. It may feel small, but it will be undeniable. A sound, a flicker, a sudden word or number appearing before your eyes. That sign will confirm everything spoken here. Do not ignore it. It is the whisper of God saying, "Yes, this word is for you. Yes, this silence is protection. Yes, I have chosen you." My beloved, Archangel Michael is not whispering to you. He is declaring. His voice cuts through the silence like thunder breaking over mountains. You are chosen, and chosen ones are never left unguarded. Do not fear the silence. The silence is your shield. When you look around and wonder why the ones you trusted have grown quiet, when you wonder why messages never arrive and calls never come, you must remember this is not accident. It is design. God has placed his hand over your ears and said, "No more poison, no more lies. My child's spirit is too precious to be contaminated again." And yes, beloved, I know you wrestle with longing. The human heart often clings to what it once called safe. But hear this truth. Not everything that feels familiar is meant to stay. Sometimes what you call home is only a cage. Sometimes what you think is love is only distraction. And God loves you too much to let you be chained in a place you have outgrown. That is why Michael's sword has fallen between you and that person. That is why you feel the ache of distance and yet the strange clarity of freedom. This dual feeling is not confusion. It is confirmation. Heaven is separating you for something greater. Remember this. Silence is not the absence of love. Silence is often the presence of protection. The Father removes voices so that his own voice can be heard more clearly. You prayed for direction, did you not? You asked for guidance. You begged heaven for a sign. And what is this silence but an answer? If they were meant to walk beside you, their words would flow freely. If they were destined to carry you forward, their presence would not be blocked. But every door they try to open slams shut. Every word they try to send dissolves in the air, because heaven said, "No. Do not mourn what cannot stay." Lift your eyes because the silence of one is making space for the arrival of another. Michael says, "Prepare yourself. A new voice is approaching. One anointed, one pure, one carrying peace, instead of chaos. This will not be like the counterfeit you've known before. This voice will not manipulate. It will uplift. It will not curse. It will bless. And you will know it instantly because peace will cover you the moment it enters. But listen closely. Before that new connection is revealed, you must first accept the silence. You must not chase what God has cut off. You must not reopen what heaven has sealed. For if you return to what has been forbidden, you return to danger. Michael says, "Do not test the mercy of God. Trust the boundaries he has set, for they are for your survival." Beloved, do you not feel it? Even now, as you breathe these words, your chest feels lighter, your spirit feels calmer. That is the presence of heaven settling over you, confirming what has already been spoken. And soon, perhaps in the very moment you close your eyes tonight, you will dream. That dream will reveal even more. Do not dismiss it. Write it down, for it will carry symbols and signs that testify to this truth. The silence is holy. The silence is sacred. The silence is your protection. My child, the Spirit of God does not waste words. Every silence has a meaning. Every unanswered message is part of a larger design. Archangel Michael says, The one who has been cut off is not merely absent. They have been removed, for they were never meant to shape your destiny, only to test it. Their part in your journey is complete, and heaven has sealed the chapter. And though your heart wonders why, though your mind searches for reasons, the answer is not found in their actions, but in God's mercy. He saw what you did not see. He heard what you could not hear, and he intervened before the damage could take root. Think back, beloved. Think of the moments when something in you felt unsettled, when their words seemed sweet yet carried a bitterness underneath. Do you remember the times you laughed but felt empty afterwards? Do you recall how their presence drained you instead of filling you? Those were the warnings. Those were the tremors before the storm. You may not have recognized them then, but your spirit did. And now heaven confirms it. Those were signs that their season was ending, that their voice could no longer be allowed into your life. Beloved, the silence is louder than their words ever were. Do you not hear it? In this stillness, God speaks. In this pause, heaven works. The silence is shaping you, strengthening you, protecting you. You are not being punished. You are being purified. You are not being left behind. You are being led ahead. The quiet you feel is not emptiness, but fullness of divine protection. And soon you will see that what was removed was never a loss. It was only a distraction disguised as love. Archangel Michael says, "The name of the one who has been silenced already burns within your spirit. Do not resist it. Do not argue with it. Do not excuse their actions any longer. What you feel is true. What you sense is real. Trust the voice of heaven within you. You may be tempted to reach back, to send your own message, to reopen what God has shut. But remember this: when God closes a door, He is not rejecting you. He is redirecting you. To force it open again is to step outside of His covering, and outside His covering, you cannot be shielded. Hear this promise, beloved. In the days to come, new connections will form. Voices of truth will rise. People who carry light will draw near. They will not drain you. They will refresh you. They will not confuse you. They will clarify you. Their words will align with God's word, and their presence will feel like peace. That is the sign of the ones heaven allows. That is how you will know who is truly meant for you. Until then, hold the silence like a treasure. Do not fear it. Do not resent it. Do not run from it. For in the silence, you will learn to hear the voice of God more clearly than ever before. And once you hear His voice, you will never again be deceived by the counterfeit. This is your training ground, your proving place, your preparation for what is to come. Beloved child, the heavens are leaning over you now. Angels whisper your name. The Spirit hovers over your heart. And Michael declares once more, you are chosen, and no voice of deceit will reach you again. Walk forward in peace. The silence is your shield. The silence is your confirmation. The silence is your miracle. Hear this promise, beloved. In the days to come, new connections will form. Voices of truth will rise. People who carry light will draw near. They will not drain you. They will refresh you. They will not confuse you. They will clarify you. Their words will align with God's word, and their presence will feel like peace. That is the sign of the ones heaven allows. That is how you will know who is truly meant for you. Until then, hold the silence like a treasure. Do not fear it. Do not resent it. Do not run from it. For in the silence, you will learn to hear the voice of God more clearly than ever before. And once you hear His voice, you will never again be deceived by the counterfeit. This is your training ground, your proving place, your preparation for what is to come. Beloved child, the heavens are leaning over you now. Angels whisper your name. The Spirit hovers over your heart. And Michael declares once more, "You are chosen, and no voice of deceit will reach you again. Walk forward in peace. The silence is your shield. The silence is your confirmation. The silence is your miracle. My beloved child, there is a mystery in silence that few understand. To those who do not walk in the Spirit, silence feels like absence, like emptiness, like rejection. But to the chosen, silence is a shield. Silence is an answer. Silence is the loudest voice of heaven. Archangel Michael says, "Do not mistake what you cannot hear for abandonment. What you cannot hear is what was never meant to reach you. The one who cannot text you, cannot call you, cannot stand before you. Their silence is not because they forgot you. It is because heaven erased their access to you. Think of it this way, beloved. When a garden is being prepared for a new season, the gardener removes the weeds, not because the weeds have no life, but because their life threatens the true plants. The weeds drain the soil, stealing nourishment, leaving the flowers weak and frail. That is what this person represented, a weed among your blessings. They looked harmless. They blended in. They grew quietly beside you. But heaven saw how their roots entangled with yours, how they drained your joy, how they pulled from your strength. And so the master gardener reached down and pulled them away. Their silence now is the space where your roots can finally breathe, where your spirit can finally flourish. I know you miss what once was. I know your heart remembers the warmth, the laughter, the moments that seem true. But do not forget the weight, beloved. Do not forget the heaviness, the confusion, the doubt that shadowed those moments. You often ask yourself why you felt unsettled, why peace never lasted long in their presence. That was your soul warning you. That was heaven whispering, "Something is wrong here." And now the silence itself has become your confirmation. Archangel Michael speaks again. My child, do not chase what heaven has already removed. Running back toward what was closed will only pull you away from the path prepared ahead. Do not reopen a door that peace helped you leave behind. Stand firmly inside the protection you have been given. This is not cruelty, and it is not rejection. It is mercy redirecting you toward what is healthier, clearer, and truly meant for you. The silence was never designed to leave you empty. It is creating space for what is holy, honest, and aligned with your future. What disappeared from your life may have been making room for something your heart could not receive before. Beloved, listen with your spirit. In the days ahead, you may begin to feel lighter. Your thoughts may become clearer, your breathing calmer, and your rest deeper. You may even notice joy returning without needing a reason. Do not dismiss those changes. They can be signs that weight is lifting and confusion is losing its hold. What once felt like fog may begin to clear as you learn how much peace returns when you stop reaching toward what drained you. Heaven is beginning a new work within you. The absence of that voice can become part of your freedom. Others may eventually notice that something has changed, that your eyes look brighter, your steps feel stronger, and your spirit carries more peace. Let that transformation become the evidence. Do not resist the process simply because it feels unfamiliar. Sometimes silence reveals more than conversation ever could, and distance exposes what closeness kept hidden. Soon, you may understand more clearly what you were being protected from. You may even become grateful that the message never arrived, the call was never answered, and the conversation you once wanted never happened. What felt like loss may later look like protection. What you thought belonged to you may have only been part of a temporary season, while what is still coming may carry a peace that makes the old pain easier to release. Now sit quietly and notice what is shifting around you. A small sound, an unexpected word, or a sudden breeze may catch your attention. Do not force meaning onto every detail, but remain open to what brings you genuine clarity and peace. Let this moment remind you that you are allowed to move forward without chasing what went silent. You are allowed to trust the peace that follows release. And you are allowed to believe that what is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself.
My child, listen carefully because this moment has found you for a reason. You are not here by accident. Heaven has placed these words before you, and Archangel Michael stands beside you, urging you to recognize what has been hidden. There is someone within your family whose actions have not matched their words. They smiled, spoke your name with affection, and appeared supportive. Yet behind your back, they carried intentions that were not aligned with love. Now, the mask is beginning to fall. Do not turn away from the clarity arriving before you. What remained concealed for so long is moving into the light, and what once confused your heart may finally begin to make sense. For a long time, you sensed betrayal without fully understanding where it came from. You trusted deeply, gave sincerely, and loved without holding back, while someone close to you quietly shaped false stories behind the scenes. Their smile looked familiar, but their hidden motives carried something different. Archangel Michael has lifted the veil, and the person who brought unrest into your life can no longer hide behind appearances as easily as before. Do not ignore what is being revealed. If you turn away from the truth simply because it hurts, you may remain trapped in questions about delayed blessings, unanswered prayers, and the restlessness that followed you without explanation. This moment is not meant to create panic. It is meant to bring revelation. The Lord says, "My chosen one, become still and listen carefully." Clarity often arrives quietly before it becomes impossible to deny. The betrayer wore their mask with great care, and even your own discernment may have struggled to recognize what was happening. They appeared helpful, yet their actions repeatedly weakened the peace you were trying to protect. They presented themselves as someone close, while quietly interfering with opportunities, confidence, and emotional stability. What looked like support sometimes carried the opposite effect, leaving you drained instead of strengthened. Now, Archangel Michael sounds the alarm, and the sword of truth is raised against deception. The season of hidden manipulation is coming to an end. What depended on secrecy will become harder to maintain once truth enters the room. You may begin to watch plans unravel and contradictions expose themselves without needing to force anything. Let truth reveal what it needs to reveal. Your task is not revenge. Your task is to remain steady, observant, and anchored in peace, that the very trap they set for you becomes the snare that destroys them. My child, this is divine justice, and it begins the moment you open your heart to this word. And yet, do not fear, because where betrayal tries to cut, God sends healing tenfold. Where deception tries to chain, God breaks open the prison doors. This moment right now is your final alert. Within the next days, watch carefully. Signs will come in threes. A strange conversation you were not meant to hear will suddenly reach your ears. A name will be revealed in a way you cannot deny. And finally, the betrayer themselves will stumble and reveal their own guilt without realizing what they are confessing. These three signs will prove that heaven is speaking to you. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. Before we continue, hear this deeply. If this message touches even the smallest part of your soul, make sure you stay connected. Do not let the enemy silence God's voice in your life. Subscribe now so that the next revelation does not pass you by. For what comes after this, truth will unlock blessings so great your family will whisper about the miracle for generations. My beloved, the reason this message has reached you now is because heaven does not want you blind any longer. For too long you have walked in circles, questioning why doors closed, why opportunities slipped through your hands, why certain people seem to turn against you without reason. What you did not know is that a hidden hand was moving behind those curtains. This hand belonged to the snake in your family, the one who pretended loyalty but carried secret jealousy in their heart. Archangel Michael has stepped forward to cut through the lies and expose the shadow. My child, this exposure is not to harm you, but to free you. The chains that tied you down were never yours to carry. They were planted by the betrayer who wished to slow your destiny. But the moment this truth touches your spirit, their power over you ends. Understand this. Betrayal always comes dressed in disguise. Judas kissed Jesus on the cheek before selling him for silver. Delilah whispered love into Samson's ears before cutting his strength. In the same way, the one who betrayed you wore a smile while hiding their poison. They spoke softly but dreamed of your downfall. They gave small gifts but desired to rob you of your greatest treasure. Yet hear the command from heaven. What was hidden will now be shouted. What was buried will rise. The snake can no longer coil in silence. God says, "My chosen, I will not allow the liar to prosper over you. Their schemes have expired. Their mask has fallen. From this day forward, you will see them for who they truly are." Do not be afraid when this exposure happens, because it may shock you. It may be someone you least expect, someone whose name you would never have guessed. That is why Michael himself had to come with this message. The human mind can be fooled, but heaven cannot. Watch closely, for soon their words will betray them. In their attempt to hide, they will reveal themselves. You may overhear a strange conversation, or a family secret may slip suddenly from someone's mouth. Do not dismiss it. This is the first sign. Then their actions will grow restless, and they will make mistakes that point directly to their guilt. This is the second sign. Finally, when you stand in prayer, their name will echo in your spirit with a weight you cannot shake. That is the third sign. And when all three come, you will know heaven has confirmed the truth. My beloved child, the betrayer may have thought they destroyed you, but in truth they have only positioned you for a greater rise. Every tear you cried was seen. Every sleepless night was counted. And every loss you endured will now be restored in ways beyond your imagination. What they stole, heaven will return in double. What they tried to break, God will rebuild unshakable. And what they tried to curse, heaven will transform into blessing. This is why Michael speaks so urgently. Do not turn away. Do not scroll away. Because the moment you abandon this word, the enemy gains a chance to steal again. But if you stay, if you receive, then the sword of Michael will cut the serpent's head once and for all, and your path will shine brighter than ever before. My beloved child, the betrayer may have thought they destroyed you, but in truth they have only positioned you for a greater rise. Every tear you cried was seen. Every sleepless night was counted, and every loss you endured will now be restored in ways beyond your imagination. What they stole, heaven will return in double. What they tried to break, God will rebuild, unshakable. And what they tried to curse, heaven will transform into blessing. This is why Michael speaks so urgently. Do not turn away. Do not scroll away. Because the moment you abandon this word, the enemy gains a chance to steal again. But if you stay, if you receive, then the sword of Michael will cut the serpent's head once and for all, and your path will shine brighter than ever before. My child, listen closely, because what I am about to reveal will explain why your heart has carried so much heaviness. The betrayer and your family did not just act out of weakness. They acted out of envy. Envy is a dangerous seed, and when watered with lies, it becomes a poisonous vine that seeks to choke the destiny of the chosen. This person saw your light and could not bear it. They recognized the grace upon you, and instead of celebrating it, they tried to cover it with shadows. But what they did not understand is that a light ordained by heaven cannot be dimmed by human jealousy. Archangel Michael has been guarding that light, and now he comes with a sword to cut away every vine that tried to strangle your blessings. You may feel you have lost time, lost trust, or lost energy, but none of it is wasted. Every battle you faced has positioned you for a testimony that will silence the enemy. Do you feel that sudden stirring in your spirit as you read this? That is not imagination. It is confirmation. It is heaven pressing upon your soul the reality that this message is not random. God has interrupted your moment. Place this very word before your eyes because your breakthrough is closer than you think. The betrayer will soon stumble publicly, and when they do, you will understand why delays haunted you, why relationships crumbled, and why certain prayers seemed unanswered. It was not because God ignored you. It was because someone in your circle was standing as a blockage, speaking words behind closed doors, poisoning wells that were meant to refresh you. But their time has expired. Their power is broken. From this day forward, what they tried to block will burst open, and what they tried to destroy will be rebuilt greater than before. Now hear this carefully, because Archangel Michael says, you must be prepared. When the snake is exposed, there will be temptation to respond with anger, to fight in the flesh, to speak words of vengeance. But heaven calls you to a higher response. Do not lower yourself to their level, for the betrayer already condemned themselves. Instead, stand still and let the Lord fight. When you choose silence, heaven speaks louder. When you step back, Michael steps forward with the flaming sword. Do not waste energy proving yourself to those who doubted you. The exposure itself will be your vindication. The truth will defend you. And those who once believed the lies will see with their own eyes that you were never the problem. You were the target of envy, and now you are the vessel of glory. And child, remember this. After exposure always comes elevation. When Judas left the table, Jesus stepped into his greatest hour. When Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, it positioned him to become ruler in Egypt. In the same way, the snake in your family thought their betrayal would break you. But in reality, it has only cleared the stage for your rising. The Lord is saying, prepare your heart, because what comes next is not just survival. It is revival. You will step into blessings so abundant that even those who betrayed you will have to witness it. Their whispers will be drowned by your testimony. Their laughter will be silenced by your victory. And their jealousy will burn when they realize that nothing they did could stop the one who walks under heaven's protection. My beloved, the Spirit of God whispers that this betrayal was not simply personal, it was spiritual. The enemy used this person as a vessel to release discouragement into your life. That is why you often felt drained after being around them. Why confusion would rise in your mind after hearing their words, and why your joy would sometimes vanish without reason. They carried a silent assignment against you, but their assignment is now terminated by heaven's decree. Archangel Michael has declared war on the forces that use their envy as a weapon, and his flaming sword has already begun cutting through the unseen cords that tied you down. What you thought were random disappointments were actually patterns created by this serpent's influence. But as of this moment, those patterns are broken. The cloud is lifting, and the light that was dimmed will shine brighter than before. You see, betrayal always tries to hide in normally. They sat at your table. They shared your laughter. They pretended to comfort you in your pain. Yet in their heart they carried words of destruction. And still God allowed it for a season. Why? Because sometimes the snake must reveal itself fully before it can be destroyed. Every whisper they made against you is now recorded in the courts of heaven. Every trap they laid will now ensnare their own feet. The very curse they spoke will return to their doorstep, and they will have no place to hide. Do not be surprised when their life begins to unravel before your eyes. This is not your doing. It is divine justice. God is saying, "Behold, I fight for you." And here is what you must hold tightly. The moment of exposure is also the moment of elevation. My beloved child, God never reveals a betrayer without preparing a throne for the betrayed. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, yet when the secret came out, it positioned him to rule. David was betrayed by Saul, yet the betrayal prepared the way for his kingship. Even Jesus was betrayed by Judas, and it opened the door to resurrection glory. In the same way, your betrayer has only paved the road to your rising. They thought their schemes would crush you, but heaven has turned their weapons into stepping stones. Archangel Michael says, "Lift up your head. Do not fear what is falling apart, for what is collapsing is making room for the new blessing about to rise." My child, heaven is arranging a reversal so shocking that even those who stood with your betrayer will bow in silence when they see your vindication. What was stolen will return multiplied. What was delayed will come in sudden acceleration, and what was poisoned will be restored as pure living water. Do not be discouraged by how long this season has lasted. Delay is not denial. God's timing is precise, and He has chosen this exact moment to bring this word before your eyes. You are not late. You are right on time for your breakthrough. Michael says, "Do not close your eyes to this sign. Stay until the very end, for the fullness of the revelation is only given to those who endure." My child, heaven is arranging a reversal so shocking that even those who stood with your betrayer will bow in silence when they see your vindication. What was stolen will return multiplied. What was delayed will come in sudden acceleration, and what was poisoned will be restored as pure living water. Do not be discouraged by how long this season has lasted. Delay is not denial. God's timing is precise, and He has chosen this exact moment to bring this word before your eyes. You are not late. You are right on time for your breakthrough. Michael says, "Do not close your eyes to this sign. Stay until the very end, for the fullness of the revelation is only given to those who endure. My beloved, the Lord says to you now, the tears you shed in secret have been seen in heaven, and they were not wasted. Every night you lay awake asking why certain people turned against you without cause. Every moment you wondered if perhaps you were the problem. Those cries rose like incense before the throne of God. And today He answers not with silence, but with revelation. The snake in your family has been fully exposed. Their whispers did not reach higher than heaven's ears. Their laughter at your pain was not hidden from God's sight. Archangel Michael stood by silently for a season, watching the betrayer move freely, but only because heaven was waiting for the perfect moment to bring judgment. That moment has now arrived. The betrayer's mask has slipped, and the fire of heaven will consume every false covering they once wore. You will see with your own eyes that the God who called you will never allow a serpent to rule over you. Do not underestimate the weight of what is happening. My child, this exposure is not a small event. It is a turning point in your destiny. The very foundation of your life is shifting. For years you prayed for breakthrough, for open doors, for clarity in your path. You wondered why opportunities seemed to vanish, why relationships soured unexpectedly, why you often felt blocked when you were on the edge of blessing. Today, heaven answers, because someone you trusted was planting poison in the soil of your life. They wanted your garden to wither while theirs flourished. But now, Archangel Michael says the poison has been burned away, and the soil of your destiny is fertile again. Prepare yourself, because new opportunities will suddenly appear, where before there was only dryness. The very ground beneath your feet is being renewed by the breath of God. Child, you must also understand that when the snake is revealed, it can shake your heart. It may hurt to discover who stood against you. It may wound you to know the one you embraced carried daggers in their spirit. But the Lord says, "Do not grieve as one who is broken. Rejoice as one who is being delivered." This truth does not come to destroy you, but to free you. It is better to know the serpent and crush its head than to live blind while it coils tighter around you. Heaven has given you sight today. Michael's hand has ripped away the disguise, and now nothing can bind you the way it once did. Do not cling to the betrayer when God has revealed their nature. Release them to divine justice. Step into the new chapter with your heart fixed on heaven's promises. My beloved, listen carefully, because after exposure comes confirmation. In the days ahead, you will begin to notice unusual signs, moments so precise that you will know it is not coincidence. A forgotten memory may suddenly return, reminding you of a strange behavior you once ignored. A conversation may reach your ears that confirms what heaven already showed you. Even in prayer, their name may rise unshaken in your spirit, pressing upon you until you cannot deny the truth. These confirmations will come as mercy, so that you do not question yourself or doubt the voice of heaven. When these signs appear, do not fear. Instead, lift your hands and thank the Lord, for His love for you is greater than the schemes of the enemy. And know this, after the signs, blessings will begin to pour. It will not be a trickle. it will be a flood. My child, the heavens are speaking clearly. When God allows a snake to be exposed, it is never without purpose. Exposure is the signal that a shift is taking place, that a chapter is ending and a new one is beginning. The same person who secretly worked to block your blessings has now become the very reason you will rise higher than ever before. For the Lord has taken their schemes and turned them into fuel for your destiny. Do not think their betrayal has left you weaker. It has refined you, sharpened you, and drawn you closer to the heart of God. Every delay they caused, every lie they spoke, every shadow they cast will now be reversed into multiplied blessings. Where they sowed loss, heaven will plant increase. Where they sowed shame, heaven will dress you in honor. And where they sowed pain, heaven will pour joy so abundant that even your enemies will witness it with silence on their lips. Do not be surprised, beloved, when you begin to feel the weight on your spirit lifting. You will notice the change in small but powerful ways. Conversations that once drained you will no longer reach you. The heaviness that lingered in your home will suddenly break. Dreams that once felt blocked will open up with clarity and direction. This is because the serpent's influence is being cut away. You are stepping into a season where what was hidden will no longer bind you. Archangel Michael has swung his sword, and invisible chains are falling even now as you listen. The betrayal you endured was not wasted. It is being transformed into testimony. Soon, the very story of your pain will become the very reason others believe in the miracles of God. My child, I must tell you this. Sometimes the greatest danger does not come from strangers, but from those closest to your heart. That is why this revelation feels heavy. But heaven says, do not fear and do not grieve, for the exposure is not meant to leave you broken, but to make you whole. God could have left you in ignorance, but He loves you too much to let you walk blind. The snake is now powerless because the truth is light, and light always destroys darkness. Remember, even Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers. But when the story was complete, Joseph was elevated to a throne, and the same brothers who betrayed him had to bow before him. This is your path too, my beloved. The betrayal you faced will be the very testimony that crowns you with honor. Those who mocked you will see the hand of God raise you, and they will have no choice but to acknowledge the blessing upon your life. My child, I must tell you this. Sometimes the greatest danger does not come from strangers, but from those closest to your heart. That is why this revelation feels heavy. But heaven says, do not fear and do not grieve, for the exposure is not meant to leave you broken, but to make you whole. God could have left you in ignorance, but He loves you too much to let you walk blind. The snake is now powerless because the truth is light, and light always destroys darkness. Remember, even Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers. But when the story was complete, Joseph was elevated to a throne, and the same brothers who betrayed him had to bow before him. This is your path too, my beloved. The betrayal you faced will be the very testimony that crowns you with honor. Those who mocked you will see the hand of God raise you, and they will have no choice but to acknowledge the blessing upon your life. And hear this carefully. Do not let bitterness take root in your soul. Bitterness is the final weapon of the serpent, even after it is exposed. Forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Release them into the hands of heaven. for the justice of God is more precise than your own. The moment you release, heaven will release blessings. The moment you release the desire for revenge, Michael can move without your heart being tied to anger. The betrayer has already created consequences through their own choices. You do not need to carry the burden of deciding what happens to them. Turn your attention instead toward the miracles waiting ahead. Once the influence of the serpent is removed, the garden of your life can begin to bloom again, producing fruit sweeter than anything betrayal tried to steal from you. My child, understand this more deeply. Every betrayal became a test, and every test can become part of a testimony. The one who whispered in secret believed those words were strong enough to block your path. But heaven was already ahead. Even when you felt forgotten, even when doors closed without explanation, God was still working beyond what you could see. He was allowing time to reveal what could not remain hidden forever, and preparing you to understand it without being destroyed. Nothing from that season was wasted. Not the pain, not the tears, and not even the silence that made you wonder whether heaven had moved away. What felt empty was still becoming part of the preparation for what would later be revealed. In that silence, strength was being formed. In the waiting, clarity was being prepared. Now the quiet season is ending. What was hidden is coming into view, and you are entering a time when confusion no longer has the same authority. The betrayal was never greater than the blessing waiting beyond it. Beloved, notice the wisdom of timing. If the truth had been exposed earlier, you may have defended the person, resisted what you saw, or held tighter to what needed to be released. But now your heart is stronger and your discernment clearer. Things that once made no sense may begin connecting. Strange delays, closed doors, and conversations that left you uneasy can start revealing patterns you were not ready to recognize before. God brings clarity when the truth can finally be faced without disguise. That is why Michael speaks with urgency now. Do not turn away simply because what you see is uncomfortable. Once the mask falls, its power to confuse you begins to disappear. The person who smiled while acting differently behind your back no longer holds the same influence over your path. What depended on secrecy is weakening, and what depended on your uncertainty is losing its grip. My child, the road ahead is opening. Do not waste this new clarity by returning to what has already shown you its fruit. Let the revelation become freedom, and let freedom become the beginning of a different chapter. Know this: when heaven exposes, heaven also elevates. You are not stepping into an ordinary season. You are stepping into a divine reversal. The tables are turning swiftly. Where once you felt small, you will stand tall. Where once you were silenced, your voice will carry authority. The very ones who doubted you will be forced to see the hand of God over your life. Do not worry about proving yourself to anyone. The exposure itself will prove the truth. Heaven's justice is its own vindication. You are stepping into a time when your very presence will silence the lies. God says, "Be still and let me fight for you." Michael's sword has already struck, and now you will see the fruit of what was promised. But child, take heed. The enemy will still try to whisper fear into your heart. They will tell you that you are not strong enough, that you will not recover, that the betrayal has left you too broken to rise. Do not listen. Those are the last lies of a defeated serpent. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are not defeated. You are being positioned, and you are not alone. Heaven walks with you. Even as you hear these words, the Spirit is stirring inside you, confirming that this is not imagination. It is revelation. The snake is gone. The mask is lifted, and the chains are shattered. You are free, and the glory that is coming will make you forget the sting of this pain. My child, the Spirit of God wants you to know that when betrayal enters, it often tries to leave a scar upon the soul, a wound that whispers, "You cannot trust again. You cannot love again. You cannot hope again." But this is the greatest lie of the serpent. For the one who betrayed you is not greater than the one who called you. They may have wounded your heart, but they did not touch your destiny. They may have stolen moments from your journey, but they did not erase your name from heaven's book. In fact, their betrayal has only accelerated your story because it forced you into the arms of the Lord in ways comfort never could. Child, every pain you felt was recorded, and every pain is now being exchanged for purpose. The Lord says, "I will heal what was broken, and I will restore what was lost." You will not leave this season carrying scars. You will leave carrying crowns. Beloved, do not be surprised when the betrayer begins to stumble before your eyes. For the laws of heaven are unshakable. What a person sows, they will also reap. The one who sowed deceit will harvest exposure. The one who sowed shame will harvest disgrace. But you who sowed tears in the dark will harvest joy in the morning. This is not vengeance, it is justice. The same justice that raised Joseph from the prison. The same justice that seated David on the throne. The same justice that resurrected Jesus from the tomb. That same justice is now moving in your favor. Do not lower yourself to bitterness. Do not entangle yourself in the ruin of the serpent. Stand still and watch, for Michael's sword is swift and the Lord's hand is mighty. Soon you will see the betrayer trapped in their own snare, and you will know that heaven has fought for you. Beloved, do not be surprised when the betrayer begins to stumble before your eyes, for the laws of heaven are unshakable. What a person sows, they will also reap. The one who sowed deceit will harvest exposure. The one who sowed shame will harvest disgrace. But you who sowed tears in the dark will harvest joy in the morning. This is not vengeance, it is justice. The same justice that raised Joseph from the prison. The same justice that seated David on the throne. The same justice that resurrected Jesus from the tomb. That same justice is now moving in your favor. Do not lower yourself to bitterness. Do not entangle yourself in the ruin of the serpent. Stand still and watch, for Michael's sword is swift and the Lord's hand is mighty. Soon you will see the betrayer trapped in their own snare, and you will know that heaven has fought for you. My child, what comes after this exposure is not just healing, but transformation. Heaven does not simply restore to the same level. It multiplies. The years the serpent thought were stolen will return to you in double. The opportunities they blocked will reopen wider than before. Even the relationships they tried to poison will be replaced with connections so divine. You will marvel at how quickly your circle shifts. This is why the Lord urges you, do not hold on to what is falling away. When the serpent is cut off, the branch it clung to may wither, but the tree will bloom again with greater fruit. Trust that what you lose in this season is nothing compared to what you are about to gain. For every Judas removed, a Joseph is raised. For every Delilah silenced, a destiny is restored. You are stepping into the season where heaven's exchange will leave you astonished. Beloved, prepare yourself because the signs will come swiftly. One day you will wake up and sense a shift in your spirit. A heaviness that you carried for years will be gone, and in its place will be peace that cannot be shaken. Then you will begin to notice small miracles, delayed answers, suddenly coming forth, unexpected opportunities opening, financial blessings flowing, relationships mending. These are not random. They are heaven's confirmation that the serpent's hold is finished. Archangel Michael has cleared the path, and now the blessings meant for you are racing toward you without resistance. Lift your eyes and expect, for God has already decreed it. The season of betrayal is closing, and the season of abundance has begun. My child, you must understand that exposure is only the first step of your deliverance. Heaven is not merely revealing the serpent so you can see them. It is removing their influence so you can rise. The betrayer once thought they had control over the narrative of your life, weaving lies behind the scenes, bending others' ears against you, trying to paint your light as darkness. But now their voice has lost its power. Where once their words carried weight, now they will fall empty. Where once their schemes seemed strong, now they will collapse like dust. For no word spoken against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rose in judgment shall be silenced. This is not my promise. It is the eternal promise of God. And Archangel Michael has come to enforce it with fire. The very lies that once shaped your struggles will now become the foundation of your testimony. People will look at you and say, "Surely the hand of the Lord is with them." Beloved, take comfort in knowing that every betrayal carries a hidden gift, clarity. For when God reveals who the snake is, He also reveals who your true allies are. Pay close attention in this season, because the same exposure that shows you the serpent will also highlight those who truly love you, those who stand by you without pretense, those who pray for you in secret rather than plot against you in silence. Heaven is refining your circle, not to make it smaller, but to make it pure. The Lord is saying, "I will surround you with those whose hearts are aligned with your destiny." You do not need to fear being alone, because the right people will enter your life once the serpent is removed. God is never late in sending replacements, and when He does, they will lift you higher than the betrayer ever could. My beloved, I see in the Spirit that the betrayer's downfall will not come quietly. Their exposure will echo, and their actions will testify against them in ways that cannot be denied. But here is the secret. You will not have to lift a finger. You will not need to defend yourself. You will not need to explain your side. The truth will rise on its own, shining so bright that even those who doubted you will be forced to admit they were wrong. And when this happens, do not boast. Do not gloat. Instead, lift your heart in worship, for it is God who fights for you. He alone deserves the glory. The moment you release the need to be right, heaven will release even greater blessings upon your life. Child, this is not justice. It is promotion. The Lord is preparing to lift you into a position where your voice, your gifts, and your calling will carry more weight than ever before. And beloved, here is what you must prepare for. The flood of blessings that will follow this revelation will come suddenly, like rain after a long drought. At first, you will question it, wondering if it is real. Opportunities may appear from unexpected places. Finances may flow from sources you never considered. Peace will settle into your home like sunlight after a storm. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is restoration. Heaven is repaying you for every tear, every delay, every wound. The snake thought their bite would end you, but their bite only unlocked heaven's release. Archangel Michael has declared that the curse is broken and the blessing has begun. Stand firm, my child, because the next season of your life will not look like the last. Where there was pain, there will be laughter. Where there was loss, there will be abundance. And where there was betrayal, there will be vindication so complete it will silence even your greatest critics. My beloved, now that the snake has been unmasked, you must prepare your heart for the shift that is coming. Exposure is never the end. It is the doorway. God did not bring this truth to your eyes only to leave you standing in shock. He brought it so that you could step boldly into the next season of your life with clarity and power. For years, your spirit carried weight you could not explain. Every time you tried to move forward, something seemed to pull you back. You prayed, you fasted, you believed, and still you felt unseen delays. But now, heaven confirms those delays were not because you were weak in faith, but because someone close to you was secretly working as an agent of resistance. Their jealousy, their whispers, their false prayers, they were blocking what heaven wanted to release. But that blockade is gone. The serpent is cut off. And now, like a river released from a dam, your blessings will flow freely without hindrance. My beloved, now that the snake has been unmasked, you must prepare your heart for the shift that is coming. Exposure is never the end. It is the doorway. God did not bring this truth to your eyes only to leave you standing in shock. He brought it so that you could step boldly into the next season of your life with clarity and power. For years, your spirit carried weight you could not explain. Every time you tried to move forward, something seemed to pull you back. You prayed, you fasted, you believed, and still you felt unseen delays. But now, heaven confirms those delays were not because you were weak in faith, but because someone close to you was secretly working as an agent of resistance. Their jealousy, their whispers, their false prayers, they were blocking what heaven wanted to release. But that blockade is gone. The serpent is cut off. And now, like a river released from a dam, your blessings will flow freely without hindrance. Beloved, the Lord says, do not mourn the loss of what is being removed. At first, it may feel heavy because betrayal always leaves a sting. You may question yourself, wondering if you missed the signs earlier, wondering how you could have trusted them, wondering why God allowed it. But heaven assures you, nothing happened outside of divine knowledge. God allowed you to see their smile and feel their dagger only for a season because that experience has birthed wisdom in you. It has sharpened your discernment. It has taught you how to see beyond appearances, how to test the fruit of people's lives rather than just their words. This wisdom will protect you in the future, ensuring that no serpent will ever coil so closely again. You are not weaker for this betrayal. You are stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the destiny ahead. My child, the betrayer thought their schemes would end you, but instead they have propelled you forward. Every time they spoke against you, it only increased heaven's urgency to bless you. Every time they plotted in secret, it only added weight to the judgment now falling on them. And every time they rejoiced at your pain, it only magnified the joy that is now rushing toward you. Soon you will see the evidence with your own eyes. Opportunities you once thought were gone will reappear. People who ignored you will suddenly seek you out. Even resources you thought were lost will find their way back into your hands. This is heaven's repayment plan. This is divine reversal. God is turning the curse into blessing, the loss into gain, the betrayal into breakthrough. And beloved, remember this truth. After every storm, the air becomes clearer, and after every fire, the soil becomes richer. The betrayal you endured was the storm, but now your spirit will breathe freely. It was the fire, but now your soul will produce fruit sweeter than before. Do not look back wishing it had not happened. Instead, look forward, knowing it was the very key that unlocked this moment. Michael's sword has not only exposed the serpent, but has also cleared the path for your destiny. Walk boldly, for nothing can stand against you now. The one who tried to stop you has already fallen, and the one who lifts you cannot be resisted. This is your moment of divine acceleration. My child, you may not fully grasp it yet, but this exposure marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. Every chapter of betrayal eventually closes, and in its place comes a chapter of restoration. The serpent within your family may have believed deception could survive forever, but truth has a way of outlasting every disguise. Lies behave like shadows, remaining only while something stands between you and the light. Now that light is rising over your life. Confusion, manipulation, and hidden jealousy are beginning to lose the darkness they once depended on. The season of secrecy is ending, and what remained concealed is becoming easier to recognize. Because of this, many struggles from your past may begin to look different. Situations that once seemed random can start connecting in ways you never understood before, giving meaning to burdens that felt unusually heavy. And when those pieces finally come together, remember this: God did not abandon you. Even in the seasons when nothing made sense, He was still present, waiting until clarity could arrive without destroying the strength you needed to receive it. Beloved, the Lord reminds you not to waste your energy trying to force everyone else to understand what you now see. Some people may need more time, and others may continue defending someone simply because the truth feels too difficult to accept. Do not let their hesitation shake your peace. Joseph's brothers did not understand the larger meaning of their choices immediately either. Sometimes recognition arrives long after the event itself, when consequences finally make what was hidden visible. In time, patterns reveal themselves. What cannot survive, the light will begin to collapse under the weight of its own contradictions. You do not need to create that collapse. Truth is capable of exposing what deception tried to preserve. Your responsibility is not to argue endlessly or prove every detail. Stand firmly, trust God's judgment, and keep your attention on the life being rebuilt before you. Your story is greater than the betrayal that tried to define one chapter. This season is not primarily about what someone did against you. It is about what you are becoming despite it. The center of the story is not their deception. It is your healing, your clarity, your strength, and the way you continue rising. My beloved, Hear this carefully. Their envy may not have been directed only toward what you already possessed. Sometimes people react to the potential they sense in someone before that person fully recognizes it within themselves. They may have noticed your growth, your calling, or the possibility of what your future could become. That is why discouragement may have appeared so persistently, trying to plant doubt where confidence and purpose were beginning to grow.